and which was very surprising because that is the latest I've ever seen 6x5 on the property in daylight. Paul and I are back down to the Gridiron with a lot of reasons to be excited. 45 yards away. Oh gosh! If you needed to, you could replace the blades really easy. And I just came across an antler. Deer season is almost here. And I feel like we're in the game this year. Like all the corn is still in. Oh yeah. All right, back for another one. Good morning, September 26th. Paul and I are back down to the Gridiron with a lot of reasons to be excited. We haven't really given an update since what would our last time being down here be? When we velvet filmed with Aiden, technically, on the blog. So that night had good germination on the food plot. We were pretty excited about that. And then we went and velvet filmed and quickly realized all these cameras that we had out here were getting deer. They just were missing a lot of action. And what was it, probably a week ago, roughly, something like that, Paul? We, very knee-jerk reaction, made a decision to come down here and wanted to check on the food plot because we had rains coming. And when we walked through that, there was 0 plants left. So what we did was I broadcast some more of the overcast blend that I had, and then we got 2 or 3 nights of rain in a row on it. So I'm gonna check the germination on that. I made a mention of it that night, but I don't expect there to be any sort of bulbs or anything with the late planting. However, if we can get any sort of tender green, I don't think that's gonna hurt anything. But the main thing that we did last time was I had a camera that I was running for summer pictures, and ended up moving that to a fence crossing that basically we just had kept our eyes on, but number 2, have noticed quite a bit of deer movement when we've been out here coming from that way. And made a mock scrape right in front of it, and wouldn't you know it, just a very good example of you can have a lot of cameras and you can think you have a place covered, and if you don't have the right camera, you could be missing everything. Since moving that camera, we've had 3 different really great bucks show up, 2 of which I know for sure from last year. The first one being, showed up yesterday morning, a just really nice wide 10. Last year he was all over the property, you know, plenty of daylight activity all the way from October through December, and I think there's some photos in January, but he's very, very easy to identify with his, you know, he's got leaning G3s forward and then just a wide frame. So put on a really nice jump. And then a 8 who last year, you know, just nice frame, good deer, put on a lot of mass, good brow tine length, and got some really cool photos of him this morning. And then the biggest buck is he's a 9 with a split brow on his right side. Really long beams. We've gotten quite a few photos of him, but he's only ever given us a side profile. And last night he was on the exact same scrape, finally working the limb. And, you know, just again, goes back to, I don't know how many cameras we have out here exactly. I think it's 13 or something like that. It's this singular camera that's getting any sort of action that would make you really, really excited for fall. So we're down here regardless, because the first thing we're gonna do, there's a building on this property and I'm gonna try to get it cleaned up. Had a bunch of dead flies and just, you know, it's not been used for quite a while. So we're gonna clean that up. Number 2, we're gonna put a few more cameras out. Number 3, we are going to set up a brush blind because Casey's son has a youth tag. And though the weather is really poor looking at the forecast. Consistent south winds, pretty hot. There's been a lot of deer using this alfalfa. So hopefully on Sunday we can get back out here and we're gonna go on a hunt, but we'll break down the spot, why we're setting up there when we get out there. But yeah, feels good to be back, and it never hurts when you got some intel that there's some good bucks running around. But the final update that I was gonna say on the big bird, because we were not there today, is I did get photos of both B-buck and 6x5 2 or 3 nights ago. I think it was the 23rd, and daylight, you know, both coming right out of that bedroom by the apple tree, and which was very surprising because that is the latest I've ever seen 6x5 on the property in daylight. Time will tell if that pattern holds true, but it's good to see them both alive. They look great, they're filling out, and we're 5 days away from opening day, so very excited to say the least, and hopefully this weekend we can put a buck down with old Casey. It would be so nice to be able to access on his side of the fence, and then, you know what I mean? Just got real quick, go check out these plants, see if there's anything germinating. Oh yeah, even right here you can see them. Way better germination than last time. And there is some brassicas in here. I mean, there's very few of them, but there is some. You know, you can see them right here from the first round of planting. But yeah, I mean, our germination's excellent this time. Why didn't it look like this the first time? You know, a month ago, we'd have a nice, luscious bulb, like the big bird plot. We got pictures of the big bird plot last night. There was a doe in there, and it looks fantastic, contrasting to this. But I'm glad we came back in and at least got something. I mean, everywhere we broadcast, it looks pretty good. There's a bunch of clover in here. I mean, about as good as you could ask for. Look at that. I mean, it's a carpet. How big will it get? I don't know. This nice 85-degree weather we've got for the next 2 months, it seems like. It might actually grow pretty good. Okay, well, before we move on to the chore list to just talk through, we are actually gonna go snag that deadhead that we found July 26th. I was just looking at the photos. Just got off the phone with the DNR officer. We're not gonna be able to meet today, per se, to get the salvage tag, but he did give me the go-ahead to grab the head, move it to the shop we're going to clean out, the building, I should say. So we'll at least get it out of the woods. But I've got him marked on Onyx right now, and then there's a trail that we actually, that day, followed out. So we'll just pop in on that, go grab him quick. I am wearing my house slippers like an idiot, and I forgot my boots. So Paul has made it his mission to make sure you guys know and see that. And that is,
hey, you brought it up.
It's well warranted. So we'll leave it there. We're also gonna go fix that camera on the creek that's on the ground. You might do that with boots, but sure. It is on the ground down there. What's Owen say? Be one with the Indian, that's his thing. Well, here we go, Owen. Okay, so the deadhead should be right down here, 45 yards away. There it is. I see him. How sad it will be if he just chewed up. There he is again. For those that wonder why we didn't take him last time, in the state of Iowa, when you find a deadhead, doesn't matter the time of the year, you are required to contact your, your county, your county DNR. Sometimes you might see people move them right away without the salvage tags, and chances are they've already touched base with their DNR officer, gotten a system down. I know in shed season especially, if you imagine a DNR officer, he doesn't have time to every single time somebody finds a deadhead, issue one tag. And, you know, they might come by at the end of shed season and give one for each one they find, but always taking pictures, showing the site where the deer were. You know, you can see this entire deer spinal column and all of his leg bones and everything. And we are not getting the salvage tag today, but we're going to be able to at least move him up into the shop. And he has gotten a little chewed up, unfortunately, since July when we were in here. But a great buck. Reminds me a whole lot of that 10-pointer that showed up with the sweeping, leaning G3s. A nice wide frame. And we will be done with this one, but really appreciate the DNR officer for getting us taken care of. And just make sure to do things the way your state tells you to do them. It's very easy to follow. And before we move back up, one of the cameras that we have down here on this creek crossing is actually on the ground, so we're going to fix that. This is one of the best cameras on the property. Got a little sandy, huh? Oh yeah, nice and nasty. I suppose that's what happens when you put it into a sandbar. But hey, it was here from last August, and it made it all the way without falling, so. All right, so I just switched the SD card on this. As I made mention, this camera's been out since August of 2024. We've never changed batteries on it. This sunshade solar panel, it's pointed to the northwest. And I mean, this camera's been out here flawlessly. We checked it, Paul and I did, in that turkey hunt. And then, as you saw, it was on the ground, but never changed batteries on this camera. And this crossing right here is one of the single best daylight active cameras during the rut, late October into November. One thing I really want to go do is see what wins, if there's any correlation between mature bucks and daylight activity. Because what we could do, there's plenty of trees right here that we could hunt on the south, and in theory, we could hunt them on the north and hunt this crossing. So, definitely, if you're not a Cuddeback user, check it out. And if you are, do not keep buying batteries. I mean, these sunshade solar panels they've been a game changer. So the only reason we don't have more is right now they're sold out. With that being said, one thing I've never done is just walk this creek all the way out. This is going to take us towards the alfalfa field and the food plot. So we'll see how far this takes us and then identify any deadfalls, because come season, I would love to use this for access, opposed to obviously doing what we're doing, walking through the woods. That's a bad idea. And there's plenty of farm that we've never even walked to the north that we still need to explore. But we'll follow this out and see where it takes us. Got this marked as a hazard on Onyx, just so I can, because I'm gonna end up sharing all these pins with Casey. This is not moccasin, you know, until it, oh boy. Oh yeah, turkey vultures. Come look at this. This is what I was saying it. Yeah. Got some fresh sign. Kind of nasty. So this should take us right to the scrape. Big road right there, historically. Yeah, I think this is that point. Yep, here we are. I mean, all signs would point to the fact that when they hit that scrape, they're walking this in. Because I don't get them going by that camera back there. So, just something to keep in mind. Yeah, he was on this scrape last night. He being the 9 from summer.
Great young deer. Big 9-point with a little, I think it's a kicker point off his right base. It's not very big after velvet, but he's been hitting this scrape, and it's interesting. The bucks we had in the summer, this is what they're hitting, and the new bucks are on the other side of the farm. So kind of seems like there's a little bit of a divide in movement as of right now. But this will wrap up that little venture. Got great germination. Wish it was a month ago, but it's better to have it now than not at all. And like I said, there's some. So I get the plot look like that, that'd be awesome. Good thing it's only the farthest spot away from the stand. All right, I'll just put this in the camper. Make it sit right there. You ready to go clean a building?
I'm ready.
All right, well, as you can tell, a little TLC is needed. Got some bugs in there. I'm gonna get this deadhead, we'll put it inside. And I can lay out for you guys kind of our plan when we come down here, because it's gonna involve sleeping in these campers and possibly sleeping in this building with them. So. Oh yeah. We got some flies, dude. A little nasty.
It feels strange that I'm gonna tune into a late night.
But you know what this tells us? Hey,
Instead, I'm gonna be
we got power.
kind of like given political.
We got power. That's crazy. All right, we got some work to do. That is not ideal.
This is my biggest treasure, my greatest
Oh gosh.
the only thing that's left I truly own.
Wow.
No pot of gold at the end of this year. No record manual ever on my song.
All right, 2 hours later, we were just in the middle of cleaning the shop, and as you can see, there's a lot to clean. We got this bright idea that while we're out there, it'd be fantastic with a really hot day, everything's dry. If we could go in and make our last mowing. Last time we did that, Luke had the skid steer and that mower on the front. Well, here we are, about an hour and 45 minutes, or hour and a half north, and we're in the town of Cuddeback at Joy's cousin's shop. And if you see here on the trailer, this is called the tilted mower. And when we get out there, I will show you why it is called that. But long story short, it's a company that he is starting, and he's got a pretty innovative product. But for us, we are going to go put it through some tests at the Gridiron farm. Obviously, we're going to try to mow right in front of the shop. But then more importantly, we have some trails and some thicker grasses. And John said, test it. So that's what we're going to do. But and we'll see you back at the farm. We say we do some housekeeping.
The sun don't reach, weary eyes know the light don't peep down in the mine. 40 lives, only whistles blow.
Okay, well, we just got it all mowed up by the building here. And I don't know if I've covered this quite yet, but one of the reasons why we're taking care of this is because there is a possibility we will be sleeping out here. I'm going to be getting a Starlink here really soon. And then we've got the Freedom campers. Now, one thing I did not anticipate is that it actually is somewhat finished in there. There's a couple of walls with insulation and drywall, but good chances are that we'll be sleeping in the Freedom campers. There's also power on the inside, so that will be
if nothing else, a place to lay our head this fall. And it'll just be the starting point for, you know, clean access and things of that nature, but also just to help the landowner. Want this place to look clean and upkept, and if I can help out doing it, we're gonna do that. So this mower is absolutely awesome. I mean, it's making short work of everything. And now what I'm about to work my way through is some actual trails that we'll be using for hunting purposes. I think Paul's gonna have the drone in the air here soon, and then yeah, we're just gonna try to make hay while the sun shines. And very thankful to the landowner letting us hunt, to my buddy getting me involved in this property, and then to John, Joy's cousin, for letting me use his mower. So keep grinding here, but making short work of it, and just really thankful for good people that are hopefully all participating in what it's gonna take to kill a buck this year. So keep on going.
Way, way down we go. Gotta rip that soul out of the ground while we walk that long walk to the sound of hammer and steel, steel on stone. Yeah, we work those fingers.
Thing's doing some work.
Yeah. Well, we got a majority of it done. Still got to do this path and then the food plot, tree stand access, but might as well show you the tilted mower. And that is this fancy contraption that basically will give you access to everything you need. Changing blades, and boom, how about that? Get under there. I'm gonna need to blow this off right now, but yeah, basically this was a safety problem that Joy's cousin wanted to address, and so he came up with a tilted mower. And I just used and abused this thing. He said to test it, so we did. I created some new trails that I'm really excited to talk to you about. And yeah, I mean, going up and down hills. I know that Joy actually posted about this on TikTok and during the Iowa State Fair. And people were complaining about how it couldn't be weighted correctly, and going up a hill and the side hill. And I mean, I just did it all. So if you needed to, you could replace the blades really easy. Good as new. I mean, this thing is sweet. I really can't say I've ever used a zero-turn mower all that much, so this was my second experience ever with one of them. But I could see the benefit that if we needed to sharpen our blades and get under here, and I mean, something that's worth showing. I mean, I don't care how much pressure you put on this, it's not gonna come down on you. And I'm not quite sure what I just used it for is its designed purpose. But if it can do that, it can do any dang lawn and maintenance you need. So really excited to see where this company goes for John. And I appreciate him letting me use it, because if we had to use the old billy goat, we'd be here for about a week. So we're gonna keep going. We got one shed on the board. Looks like Paul's been helping clean the shed, which is really, really nice of him. I don't even know what time it is, but it doesn't really matter. We just gotta keep going and get it done. So yeah, if you're looking for a mower, check them out. All right, we're about 3 hours in here into this mowing, and I'm just about done. I'm actually getting some fire breaks put out right now. And I just came across an antler. It looks sneaky, suspiciously familiar. So, there's a buck that just showed up. Very big deer. It has a split brow right in the same side. which I'm not at all saying that that is the same deer, but second shed of the day. And yeah, making fire breaks right along this edge so that this spring we can come back in here and burn this, because I got a feeling there are more of these guys out there. So it's been a heck of a fun and productive day. I really need to get this done. Had no idea how I was going to. And this tilted mower, thank you so much, John. Really, really appreciate it. And let's get to the end here. I cannot wait to shed hunt this. I mean, there's got to be antlers right here. Man, deer season is almost here, and I feel like we're in the game this year. Well, wrapping up today. Got a lot done. That's a project that I wasn't quite sure how we were going to get it done, but when we get inside here, you're going to see a pretty different sight. And that's a lot to thank Paul for. While I was mowing, he was kind to keep getting rid of the flies and whatnot. And we are in good shape as far as this building goes. So that is gonna wrap it up for today. Now that we're getting some of these bucks back on camera, Paul and I are gonna go look at the 2024 photos and just see what we can learn, specifically with this wide 10, have a big browed 8-pointer, and then really I want to see if I can't find who this split browed 9-pointer is. But it's a fun time of year, I can tell you that. I guess one thing that you saw happen that I haven't really talked about was, even with that good germination, I decided to take this mower and just cut over that tall grass, because it wasn't, I mean, the new plants are too small for it to affect too badly. And hopefully we get some rains that continues to grow. Just want to say one more big shout out to John for letting us use that mower. It was a lifesaver. So I am tired, I'm hungry, and I'm so excited for deer season. I can't express that enough to you guys. So let us know what you want to see. Let us know what you want to hear about. Let's go look at some photos, see how we use the backdated history to help make a plan.